What if a t-shirt could be more than just, well, a t-shirt? What if it was actually a philosophy you could wear? Today, that's exactly what we're doing. We're decoding Wear2Transform, a brand that packs some really big ideas about how we change ourselves and the world into every single design they make. So let's dive in and break it down.
Okay, so this line right here, this is straight from the brand's mission statement: external action and internal growth. I mean, at first glance, those things seem like they're on opposite ends of the universe, right? One is all about changing the world out there, and the other is about changing yourself in here. So the big question is, how does this brand connect the two? That's the puzzle we're going to solve today.
So, what we're really looking at here is pure message driven design. This isn't just about making something that looks cool. Nope. Every single one of their 66 unique pieces is specifically crafted to communicate an idea. It's like they're translating a whole philosophy directly into graphics you can wear. And that brings us to this idea of wearable art. Basically, the whole concept is that you're not just buying a shirt or a sticker, you're adopting a message. The product itself becomes this tool for communication, and it turns the person wearing it into, well, a walking billboard for an idea they really believe in. Now, when you start looking closely at all the different designs, a really clear structure starts to emerge. The brand's entire philosophy, that promise of action and growth we just talked about, it's all built on two distinct, super powerful pillars. Let's dig into the first one. So this first pillar is all about looking outward. These are the designs that don't just speak, they shout. Seriously, they're calls to action, they're demands for societal change, they're basically tools for protest. This is the loud, completely unapologetic side of the brand. And these calls to action are incredibly specific. They're not just vague, feel-good statements. They really cluster around a few key themes. There's a huge focus on human and civil rights, really urgent calls for climate activism, demands for social justice, and even this surprising emphasis on why critical thinking is so important. I mean, just look at how direct this is. Silence is compliance. There's absolutely no ambiguity there. This is a classic activist slogan, right? It's designed to be confrontational, to challenge you if you're just sitting on the sidelines. It really sets the tone for this whole pillar. And here we see that climate activism theme in full force. It's a specific, policy-oriented demand, but it's presented in this really catchy, memorable phrase. It's not just save the planet, it's a targeted message aimed right at the fossil fuel industry. And this one just broadens the scope even further. It's not about tinkering around the edges. This is a call for fundamental reform. This design is speaking to the idea that the very structures of our society need to be reimagined. And this just perfectly illustrates the overall vibe of the external action pillar. It's not about asking politely, it's about demanding. The language is active, it's empowering, and it is intentionally disruptive. So the key takeaway here is that this side of the brand is all about engaging with the world outside. So this slide just captures the brand's duality perfectly. Over on the left, you've got that outward focus we've just been talking about, the action, the protest, the calls for justice. But what's happening over on the right? That quiet internal side? Well, that leads us directly to the second pillar. And the second pillar turns the focus completely inward. If the first one was a megaphone, this one is a mantra. These designs are all about personal development, self-reflection, and building up your inner resilience. This is the quiet, reflective core of the brand.
And this isn't just my interpretation, by the way. The brand is super explicit about this in its mission. They state that these designs are rooted in philosophies like Stoicism, spirituality, and positive psychology. This is the internal growth they promised us right from the start.
And just like the first pillar, there's a huge variety of messages here. Let's just look at this table. You've got designs like Anchor Yourself Deeply, which is all about stability and mental health. Then there's something like Observe, Don't React. That's a direct lesson from Stoicism and mindfulness, all about awareness. And, sometimes it's as simple and as powerful as, you've got this. Just pure motivational fuel for building up that self-belief. This design, Stillness is Strength, just perfectly encapsulates the whole philosophy of this internal growth killer. It reframes being quiet and still, not as a weakness or as inaction, but as a source of really profound strength. It's the complete opposite of silence is compliance, and yet, as we're about to see, they're actually designed to work together. So now we have these two pillars that seem totally contradictory, right? One is loud and external, the other is quiet and internal. It's like a brand of protest and a brand of meditation all rolled into one. So, how on earth do they fit together into one single coherent idea? And here it is, the answer, again, from the brand's own mission statement. This is their core logic. This is the bridge that connects the two pillars. The argument they're making is that you can't really effectively change the world outside until you've fortified your world inside. We can actually map this whole thing out as a pretty clear path to change. It all starts with step 1, you cultivate inner strength, with designs like built on grit. From there, you can move to step 2, which is to find your voice, using messages like unmute your voice. And only then, once you've done that inner work, do you get to step 3, creating external change, fueled by that inner resilience, with slogans like justice requires action. So, the crucial point is this. Wear2Transform is arguing that these two pillars aren't separate things at all. They're sequential. The personal journey of strengthening yourself is presented as the essential fuel you need for the public mission of making the world better. One simply can't exist without the other. And that brings us to the end. This brand's whole philosophy really leaves us with a provocative question. If our clothes can be a form of communication, a type of wearable art, what messages are we choosing to send with our own? What ideas are we advocating for, consciously or not, every single day we get dressed?